Thank you, gentlemen. And please stay in your seats, ladies and gentlemen. We have our final distinguished panel coming up in just one moment after we've reset the stage. But we're going to go back and take a look at Europe after Brexit from a 30,000-foot macro perspective, a view from Central Europe. And we are honored to have with us Mateusz Morawiecki, the Deputy Prime Minister of Poland and Minister of Economic Development and Finance. Along with the Prime Minister, we also have Claudiu Vrinceanu, the Secretary of State with the Romanian Ministry of Economy, Commerce, and Relations with the Business Environment. And joining them in this conversation is a senior executive, Karel Kučera, the CEO of CzechInvest. So our Bloomberg News London Bureau Chief, Emma Ross-Thomas, will be moderating this closing discussion. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the Prime Minister, the Secretary of State, CEO Kučera, and Emma Ross-Thompson to the stage. Thank you. Emma?
I'll go here. So. Great. Well, what a fabulous panel we have. As one of the moderators noted earlier, the backdrop to this conference is slightly different to the one some of us had predicted. And so that's not an elephant in the room. I might just start by asking all of you very briefly, maybe 30 seconds each, to tell me how the Trump victory changes things for you in your current role. And perhaps we can start with Mr. Morawiecki.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for having me here. I think it's going to be positive for Poland because it's going to be to enhance the investment in infrastructure in the United States. So it's going to reinvigorate growth in the United States. And given that the U.S. is such an important partner for the European Union, for Poland, I think it will bring new opportunities as well. And also I think that some words which were said at the heat of the pre-election battle were completely different words than in the first speech of the president-elect. So I'm not so much concerned about this and the future impact on this of this on Poland.
Great.
I'm also optimistic. Actually, I will look at 3 points. Firstly, I will look in my room, at my projects. Last week, we have discussed with the US Embassy to create a project focused on innovation in Bucharest. And we had to make follow-up at last evening Party of Democracy in Bucharest, an event organized by US Embassy. I missed this event because I had to prepare for this visit in London, but tomorrow in the morning, after the final results, I received an email from the embassy, which confirmed me the continuation of our project. So it is important for us to have a continuity on this part. Secondly, I will look at our Prime Minister statements from launched today. He found out many opportunities in Donald Trump economic strategy. We have to build more bridges between Romania and states. And thirdly, I will look also to our strategy in order to help local capital to going overseas. We want to create a bridge with Silicon Valley where we are present with some startups and entrepreneurs. So I'm personally optimistic.
Great. Thank you, Karel.
Okay. Good afternoon. Basically, Donald Trump is one of the presidential candidates which actually has some affection to Czech Republic from his personal point of view. So I don't think it will affect Czech Republic relations to the United States that he's elected.
Okay, and to the extent that Brexit and Trump are part of sort of broader anti-establishment, anti-status quo movement, what implications does that have for investment in your region? And perhaps we can start with you.
Well, in general, it creates some instability, and investors don't like instability. You can see it basically on the markets right now. In the long term, it will change definitely because what is happening in the short term is in question always. But definitely some instability is helping the stable region. So this region, Central Europe, is quite stable. So it's helping basically to push the investments forward.
Okay. Morawiecki, would you like to add anything to that?
Well, I think that there will be a new situation in terms of the economic policy, and this was, as you said, elephant in the room, also in the sense that the elites, economic elites in the world, in the United States, in Europe, post-Brexit, post 3 or 4 referenda which were lost in terms of the European Union over the last 12 months in Greece, in the Netherlands, and in Denmark, and now the elections in the United States, it does create a new situation and new perception, and it's better than that this is realized, that this is now digested, and a new reply is being cooked rather than nobody sees this elephant in the room, because there are different elephants in the room, and the elephant is also that there is 2/3 of the population which is clearly not so happy with with the policies which were presented so far. So now I think it's time to rethink all of this, and in both in Europe and in the United States this will happen.
Okay, that's interesting. So in the Brexit negotiations, presumably the 3 countries that you represent do actually have something to gain from the UK leaving the EU. Perhaps I can start with you, Mr. Vrinceanu. What do you see Romania potentially gaining?
I see many opportunities, and in my opinion, we should have a common voice as states, not separately. We should gain together if it will be possible. We see some continuity in the projects now. For example, one big investor, British American Tobacco, which is present in Romania, announced today a big further investment in our country. We see some change in focus for investors on the short term. For example, we had a contact with an investor, a British investor, which has the aim to invest in Mexico and after Mexico in Romania. And in the context of Brexit, they have changed the strategy, and they will invest this year in Romania firstly, and after this in Mexico. Of course, when you talk about FDIs, you know better that the process is long. So we'll see the effects in 3 or 4 years. That's my opinion.
And does Trump change the dynamic of the Brexit negotiations?
I don't think so. I don't think so. We have a negotiation process which has started. The chief negotiated for Brexit from UK came in Romania. Very recently, actually, Romania was the second country visited by UK officials after Germany. In my opinion, we don't see effects of Trump elections.
Okay, and on to you. What component gain?
Brexit does create a completely new environment, and Central and Eastern European countries, which have very good terms of trade and a stable environment, a very high level of education, very secure, safe environment all around us. I think it's, and being part of the single European market, it's a very good opportunity to invest from the UK in the post-Brexit era, because the salaries are still lower, but the level of education is very high. We have in Poland 2 million people, graduates, and 500,000 every year is coming to the market. 40 different foreign languages for shared services centers for business process outsourcing. So over the last 6-12 months, we were very successful in attracting new businesses. And by the way, in big countries like Poland, Romania, I think that the marginal cost of additional investment is pretty low, comparing to some small countries of Western Europe. Forgive my Luxembourg friends, for instance. In Luxembourg, probably marginal cost of additional 1,000 employees or new bureau is quite high. In Poland, is stable. We are increasing this attractiveness through making available lots of space, commercial space for BPOs and so on. And actually, all of the investors who have put their trust, who are confident in Poland, and they already invested in Poland, they are actually expanding their investment. They are enlarging their presence in Poland, which is the best proof in the eating.
But just to sort of push you a bit on the spoils, if you like, of Brexit, where do you think are the possible advantages that?
This is beginning with very precise elements, like, for instance, data transfer. In post-Brexit, if the UK is not part of the European Union, single European market, then there are problems with this. If there might be some restrictions in terms of free movement of goods or services, and business which is operating out of Poland won't have those restrictions. So it's not the same to be in Switzerland and in the rest of the European Union, and Swiss business, they know this very well. So also free movement of capital, which is very important for the City of London here. We are talking to lots of interesting investors from this point of view to attract them to Poland, which is part and a very stable member state of the European Union.
So you, for example, sorry to interrupt, you would like the UK to lose passporting, for example?
Yeah, services passport. We talk about this in the Competitiveness Council, in ECOFIN, in other councils in the European Union. And this is important going forward for companies to have a simple mechanism of doing their business, and Poland does offer this.
Okay. Mr. Kučera, you were nodding earlier. Do you want to expand a bit on what Czech Republic can get out of Brexit?
Well, basically, for the whole regions, it's two main things. One of the main things is, as was said here before, the investors don't like risks, because they are undertaking risks when they are investing money, business risks. And they don't want to basically undertake risks which they cannot mitigate, which are usually political or other kind of risks. So they are looking at a region which is stable. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting for them, and they are definitely losing some restrictions that they had before. That's one thing. And the second thing, which is also quite interesting, is the pool of talented people. Because if you look on the people and say, okay, I want to go anywhere as a millennial, I want to work anywhere, and now you cannot. Or you will choose a country where you afterwards can go anywhere. It's just different principle in basically shift in the market for talents, and the companies are basically looking for talents. Mm-hmm. So if you look on that, and the people are looking at locations which are safe, which are easy to live in, then definitely they are starting to consider why to go, for example, to UK, to London, or why not to go elsewhere. And the third thing is one of the risks which was said here by the Vice Prime Minister. It's about the data. I think in a new world, it's less about, trade and moving goods, but it's a lot about data. And when the data will not be able to move for certain purposes, like privacy issues, etc., out of EU, then how can you operate the business in shared services? Because everything is about data in this business. And it's moving that way even quicker than we think. And it's not that thought about, that everything is going digital and that there are some boundaries which will be hard to cross.
Mm-hmm. And how does this affect your negotiating position? And one of the things that I want, and obviously you're not government, but one of the things I wanted to ask is whether some of the countries from the region might sort of negotiate a joint stance going into the Brexit negotiations if you all have certain sort of common interests.
Well, first of all, I should say that the government official statement was that they are losing partner in EU when basically Britain voted to go out because we were sharing some positions with Great Britain.
Yep.
And the second thing is that the government clearly states that basically the key are the 4 key elements of free market within EU. And if they can be negotiated, it's okay. If they can't, then it's up to basically the vote within the EU. So that's the negotiating position. We would like to keep all the 4 elements together with Britain, but if that wouldn't be possible, then it's up to how the negotiations will go.
Right. And for Poland, would you consider a sort of joint negotiating stance? Are there sort of informal chats at the moment as to how to get the most out of negotiations?
We have a so-called Visegrad countries, group of Visegrad countries with the Czech Republic, with the Slovak Republic, and Hungary, and recently, very frequently, with my friend, Deputy Prime Minister Kostinborg from Romania. And we talk to each other, of course, and our positions are quite alike in many instances, but really we feel good citizens of the European Union, so we want to negotiate together. But in general terms, like the Brexit is for us, what Fukuyama's the end of history. This is the end of history. The whole world and also the post-Brexit for the UK has to be rethought. And we believe that this Poland, with its strong economy, is creating good opportunities for countries which want to be outside of the European Union, but want to get access to a very big, flexible market of CEE, Poland, Romania, and so on, and well-educated, as it was said. And we believe that we have very strong cards, and we just invite investors, which, by the way, I worked 25 years in business, in different business processes, working on them a lot. So it does not have to mean that this is a win-lose situation. It may be win-win for lots of British companies because they would move some middle office functions like risk management. We have fantastic mathematicians and IT guys and so on, data management, project management, so middle office functions, some front office functions, but they can concentrate on even higher value-added functions from their process point of view. And we see it works very well for them, like names, like top-notch names like Goldman Sachs, Credit Suisse, are all present in Poland and so on. And they actually increase their presence in Poland, but at the same time they earn more profits overall through their business models.
At the moment, that's back office, right?
5-10 years ago, it was back office. Now it's more middle office and front office functions. It's more high value-added functions.
And what's the outlook in terms of attracting more financial services investment?
Yes, it's very good. Actually, over the last 3-4 months, I was myself talking to 15 or 20 investors, very good investors, very big banks, big investment banks or advisory companies, and they are all actually interested in investing in Poland or expanding their already existing investment through ABSL. I think lots of statistics are available, so this is a very good trend for Poland.
I think a common theme for all the countries represented here is the shortage of labour because they're all here. A lot of skilled immigrants from Eastern Europe are here. Are you doing anything to try to lure back highly skilled workers? We can start with Mr. Vrinceanu.
Yes, this is the new reality, but before talking about this issue, because it will become an issue in the near future, I'll focus also on opportunities, because we have many opportunities in terms of talented, skilled force. Romania is the sixth nation in the world with certified IT specialists. Now we have 5 universities focused on IT, which are creating every year around 7,000 future specialists. So here we are in terms of opportunities. When we are talking with SMEs and also with foreign investors, we face with these new issues, with this issue regarding the workforce, especially skilled workforce. We have some problems in the west side because the unemployment rate is very low. We have many investors there because the opportunities are numerous. For example, the median net wage is around 400, 500 euros in that area, so we are very competitive. What we are doing now, we are focusing on 2 parts. We are looking at diaspora. We have a large diaspora there, and we have many private and public projects which has the aim to attract diaspora from Romania. And also we have launched a mobility scheme, a mobility bonus, in order to persuade the people to move from east to west, for example. We have a strategy on the short term, but also on the long term, in order to change the demographics.
But I suppose, could it be a silver lining of Brexit, or depending on how the negotiations end up, that some of the immigrants now in the UK end up going home? Could that be a positive?
In my opinion, around 5% will take in consideration to come back in Romania. So the effects will not be seen in the near future.
Okay.
Well, we don't have such a large diaspora of Czech people in UK actually. Poland beat us pretty badly in this field.
I envy you, actually.
But the business shared service centers in Czech Republic are in a bit different state than all other neighboring countries, because roughly 35–36% of all the people working in these fields are actually foreign. So that's why we end up the 4th best location for expats on the world. We are the 6th safest country in the world by the voting. So it's quite interesting for foreigners to come to Czech Republic. And so you are not having such a large issue with high quality people, because Czech Republic is not only attracting people from western part of the countries, because the cost of the living and the quality of life is very much more comparative to the London, for example, even that you can get a lower amount of money, but you can still get more and better quality life. But also for other Slavic countries, so to say, so Poland, Slovakia, Ukraine, Russia. So all other countries are basically coming, or the people from these countries are coming to Czech Republic. They are studying there for free, and a lot of times they are marrying there and staying there. So
okay,
it's kind of a different situation in Czech Republic, really.
And Mr. Morawiecki, what do you hope to achieve in terms of luring back talent, and what are the implications of that for the negotiations?
Well, I hope that significant part of those Polish citizens who left Poland would decide to come back, also because our unemployment level is on a very low, the lowest in our history. But also, of course, because it's a loss for country in the longer term, and we now have plenty of opportunities. So we invite them back. Of course, there is still this difference in terms of salary between the UK and Poland, but together with the cost of living here in London, food, real estate, and everything, it's a very positive equation in Poland. So we hope to attract significant part of the population back to Poland over the next 5–10 years. They have gathered lots of experience with the British friends here in companies, and they are a fantastic asset and resource in terms of what they can contribute to the growth of the Polish economy going forward. And by the way, lots of them are also go back to Poland together with the British companies located in the Great Britain who transplant some of their processes into Poland, middle office or back office. So it's a win-win situation.
Right. So something that the Prime Minister here hasn't been totally clear about is the rights of EU nationals in the UK. She said that she hopes to be able to guarantee that they can remain, but she's been a bit ambiguous about that. From your point of view, would it be a disaster if the EU nationals here at the moment essentially lost their right to remain here?
Well, it's a very political question, okay? We are very sensitive to this because 1 million Polish population or maybe more is in the UK, so they have their families in Poland. So we have to, well, and the rights which were acquired, they have to be respected going forward. It's a one statement, it's a first political statement, but then we have the economic reality around us, and these great people, they are now invited back to Poland, and there is lots of opportunities also created by companies investing in Poland, and they know the culture here pretty well after 3 or 5 or 7 years of living here. So they can be a good link in this connectivity between the UK and Poland.
And from your point of view, what would be the best possible Brexit outcome for Poland? What would that look like?
Like we have created something which we call one-stop shop for all the investors from the UK. We have very consistent and easy to understand policy how to attract investors. So we try to attract as many investors from the UK as possible, and also your previous question, the Polish population. There is quite a group of British citizens already, a couple of thousands of them living in Poland as well. And I think for us, we want to get out of this middle income trap, or we want our salaries to grow together with the level of competency, together with skills, and we would like to create more of the space for value-added services, for value-added products, and it is happening. We would like to continue, and we would like to enhance this process. So with Brexit, we see more and more of interest in Poland by British corporations. So it's positive.
And for Romania, what would just from Romania's point of view, what would the ideal Brexit deal look like?
It is a very political question.
Of course.
And I'm from the field, and I work on projects. And
Sure.
For example, we have a project in order to create a bridge between our diaspora represented by those who have studied in big universities in EU. Imagine a project where our students from UK can come with ABSL investors in Bucharest and Romania, and they will find a good job in Bucharest with this kind of cooperation, and they will persuade the new investors in the future to come in our country. So this is the outcome I want to have also in the next years, to create such a platform. To create such platforms.
Are you going to ask my question? No.
No, sorry.
Oh, okay. Did you? Go on.
There's just one addendum to this, that Poland is a very good environment, I think other CEE countries as well, for startups, and for all the fintech, and Poland becomes more and more attractive place for fintech sector, startups. Environment is very conducive for them. It's more and more young people from Western Europe are coming to Poland, but also investors. We have set up the biggest fund of fund in the Central and Eastern Europe, 1 billion euro, and we look around for VC, venture capital investors, and to actually share the risks and spread the risks, and this is also one very attractive element in the future economic environment. The startup community, very vibrant, lots of interesting ideas which are then tested in the Poland and then transplanted to the Central Europe in terms of Austria, Germany, then they go to California, of course, and so on. But we see that this can be the center of gravitas for new startups.
Okay, that's interesting. You mentioned investment, but one of the issues surely with Brexit also is that when the UK leaves, they stop contributing to the EU budget, and obviously a lot of the funds from the EU budget are, building bridges and doing all sorts of infrastructure projects in Eastern Europe.
I don't think that this is a real jeopardy to a big extent, because if we take Norway as a proxy, Norway is not part of the European Union, but they want to participate and they do participate in most of the policies of the so-called European Economic Area, which is part of the EFTA and the United Europe, Single European Market, and they pay on average 83% of what average UK citizen is today paying to the EU budget. So does this make any huge difference? I don't think so. If the UK wants to have some advantages of being almost part of the Single European Market, they will need to, or the UK will have to pay something. If it is 100% of today, probably not, because this was the decision. The Norwegian citizens, they pay on average 83%, so if this is 70% or 85%, I don't know. But the difference is really small, so I don't have any serious concerns about this.
That suggests that you expect the UK to remain inside the single market.
In some shape or form, part of the probably European Economic Area, or some other form like Switzerland or Norway, Iceland. And those countries do pay some contribution. They make some contribution to the EU budget, of course.
And you see that it's possible for them to remain in the single market, even given...
Not paying anything?
No. Given their comments about freedom of movement. Given the comments about freedom of movement, which is that does appear to be...
Free movement of people?
Yeah.
Well, it's a very political answer I would like to give, so I'm not going to say this.
Go on.
I would like all the people who came to UK from Poland to come back. I would like, but this is their individual decision, and they, of course, they decide if they want to stay here, but there's lots of jobs in Poland, lots of business opportunities, so I hope hundreds of thousands of them will decide to come back sooner or later.
But would you...
If this reduces tensions here in the UK, so much the better.
but would you accept a deal that saw the UK remaining in the single market, but with restrictions on free movement of people?
I'm not going to answer this question.
Okay. All right. I think we are coming to the end. I think you've all done incredibly well the night after most people haven't slept all night to be in this room still at 7 o'clock. Can I thank our fabulous panel? It's been a real honour to share a panel with you. And yeah, I think you've convinced me anyway.
Okay.
I'm leaving London.
Thank you. Thank you.